Merry Christmas!
Welcome to the UUCC Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua Christmas service.
I'm Bill Mehls.
And I'm Eileen Casey-Campbell. This evening's call to celebration is adapted from a prayer by the Reverend Dr. Melanie Dugoodnay. We are not together tonight, and still I invite you to be here, just now. Borders are walled and pathways are perilous, and still you step into a place of promise, just here, just now. May your memory be jostled, jolted, not only into stark realities, but into wild imaginings of what can be here and now. Be here just now, where we hear the groaning, moaning, mourning, just here, just now. May your anger, righteous and redolent of hope, rise up and stake a claim. May your grief, well deep and spring water sweet, flow and flow over a stream in a desert place. May your joy, risky and rowdy, be born as a child is born. May your love overflow from your being so persistently you are compelled to give it away. Be here just now, in the rhythms of life, deep in dirt, under lunar lights and circling cosmic orbs. May the music of the spheres settle in marrow and be your mentor in ministries that hold and discomfort and transform and dance the divinity of mutually indwelling love. Be here just now. Beloved ones, agitate. Be agitator. Heal. Be healer. So much is battered, broken, upside down. Be brave and bold. Be bolder. Be bold enough to be humble. Bold enough to give birth to love and give it away. Bold enough to hope for new heaven and new earth. Be blessed. Be blessing. Just here. Just now.
We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar. Field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. breathes a life of gathering gloom, sorrowing, sighing, bleeding, dying, sealed in the stone cold tomb. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us through this perfect night. Born a babe on Bethlehem's plain, gold I bring to crown him again. Love forever ceasing, never in our hearts to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us through this perfect night.
Our first reading tonight is a story called The Light Keeper's Box, adapted from a Venezuelan folktale as told by Carolyn McVicker Edwards. This story comes from the Warao people of Venezuela, who still preserve a remnant of their ancient gift culture, in which the giving away, rather than selling, of parts of the selves of plants, animals, and people is the blood-like circulation that forms community. Gift culture, as opposed to commodity culture, centers generosity and cooperation as its core values. At the beginning of the world, by the waters of the Orinoco River, there was no day. The people had only wooden torches to light their villages. By the flicker of their fires, neither day nor night truly existed. In the midst of one village lived a chief with 2 daughters. News came to the chief of a man somewhere who kept something called light. The man called his younger daughter and said, "Go and see where this young light keeper is and bring some light to me." She traveled far down many roads until she came upon a young man. "I have come to meet you," she said, "and get from you some light for my father." "I have been waiting for you," the light keeper answered. "Now come and stay with me while I show you the box of light." The young man took up a box made of tightly woven leaves. Careful not to spill it, he opened it. The light colored his arms brown and his teeth white. It poured color over the girl's long black hair and dark eyes. Then the young man closed the lid of the box. But every day the light keeper opened the woven box so that he and the girl could enjoy the light. They laughed and played sweetly together. They gazed in awe at the bright beauty of the world around them when it was bathed in light. But after some time, the young woman knew she had to return to her father and bring him what he asked for. The light keeper held the girl's hand. Then he gave her the woven box filled with light and dreams. "I want you to take this," he said. The girl returned home and found her father asleep in his hammock and whispered hello to him. The chief woke and welcomed her. She showed him the light trapped in the box, and he hung the box from one of the stilts that held up his house. Its dreams and light drifted out. The rays of light touched the crinkled water of the Orinoco, the fan-shaped palm leaves, and the yellow-red fruits on the trees. Their little village knew day at last. Word spread to the neighboring villages that a family down the river had light. People traveled to see it for themselves. They arrived in long bark canoes, more and more and more people. Everyone packed themselves into the house of the chief. They marveled at how the light revealed the whole world and at the dreams that came when they slept. The house filled with people until its stilts could hardly hold the weight of them all. Finally, the chief saw that not another person could fit in their home or indeed in their whole village. "This must stop," he said, but he didn't close up the light box and guard it away. With a wonderfully strong toss, he hurled the woven box into the sky. The body of the light flew to the east, and the box itself filled into the west. The light became the sun, and the box of leaves became the moon. And so the light in the day and its holder in the night were there for all the world to share. Our second reading is called A Blessing of Love and Wonder by Lynn Gardner. It was getting dark, and the weary travelers needed a place to sleep. It's almost 70 miles between Nazareth and Bethlehem, and Joseph and Mary were making the long journey that was required of them in order to pay taxes to the Roman Empire. It was a long journey for everyone, but Mary was feeling each mile a bit more than some, as she was about to give birth, and she was, oh, so tired. But there was a blessing. One of their neighbors in Nazareth had offered them a donkey for her to ride on the long trip. Kindness makes any journey a bit easier. The trip to Bethlehem wasn't the only journey they were on. Mary and Joseph were on that exciting, sometimes nerve-wracking journey toward parenthood. It had been 9 months since the angel Gabriel had appeared to Mary, asking her if she would carry this child, Son of God. "Here I am," she had said. "Let it be with me." And so, with her consent, which is hopefully how all children come to be, Mary was pregnant. And there was another blessing. Her dear, sweet Joseph, who believed her, who had faith in her and in God. Faith helps when times are confusing and difficult. And there in Bethlehem, this young couple was blessed with generosity, a place to stay. They were given space to rest until their baby was born. Wasn't fancy, but it was warm and safe. Out in the fields, there were shepherds watching over their sheep. It is said that angels came announcing that a child was born. Now, I would guess that shepherds don't always feel like important people. They might not always remember that they matter, especially when they're out in the field at night. But on that night, there was a blessing. The angels came and sang, and they felt not only hope, hearing of the birth of this little baby, but also remembered, at least for that night, that they were each precious. And a new star rose in the heavens, telling of the birth of one who would bring a message of peace, one who would bring change, one who would be called king. Far away, wise ones heard of the star. They went to King Herod to tell him a new king had been born. Herod was jealous and afraid of what a new king might mean, so he sent them to find the baby. And though the stories say they traveled to find him, there was a blessing. The wise ones felt compassion for this family, and they chose not to tell King Herod what they had seen. And as Jesus was held and rocked and snuggled and fed and sung to, there was blessing and love and wonder. There they were, all the people and animals gathered around a new baby, caring for him and for one another, resting in that amazing love. Over 2,000 years later, we retell the story of Jesus' birth and of his life and his teachings, and there is a blessing, possibility of a better world. This possibility arises when we remember that we are all connected, when we choose kindness, faith, generosity, when we remember that each of us matters. The possibility for a better world happens when we practice compassion, when we allow our hearts to be changed by love and wonder. This Christmas and every day, may you be touched by such blessings and share them with all those you meet. Let us now enter into a time of centering and meditation. Let's take a deep breath together. Let your shoulders relax. Let your eyes fall closed. Let yourself feel supported and held by this good earth. Our words of centering come from Rebecca Parker. You have to know your body as the home of God. And this is the purpose of Christmas. The rose blossoming in the wilderness is the unfolding of your pleasure, as the fingers peel an orange and sweetness buds in the mouth. The bright star in the night sky is the sudden clarity of your instinct for joy. The birth cry in the night is your child, falling into the dark and your arms holding her. The terror of Herod's murderous intent is your rage that would prefer death to change. The singing angel is your voice at church, not sure of the tune, but certain for a moment that there is glory. The animals breathing their warm breath in the fragile stable are your emotions, kneeling into the body of earth, at ease in the presence of God. Mary is you, God in your body. Joseph is you, sheltering God in the world. This is the key to the mystery the Word became flesh. We are the dwelling place. Amen.
Gather round the manger, softly, softly, see the precious stranger, sing Alleluia. Simple shepherds greet you, Jesu, Jesu, stately magi seek you, sing Alleluia. Mary gently holds you, softly, softly, Joseph's love enfolds you, sing Alleluia. Through the eons reaching, Jesu, Jesu, love's great lesson teaching, sing Alleluia.
Early in the pandemic, my older child, Rory, and his best friend from birth were so sad and confused about the fact that they couldn't be near one another. After a couple weeks, a little box showed up on our porch with Rory's name scribbled on it, and inside was a tiny plastic horse, one of his friend's most special toys. He hugged the horse and then right away went inside to find one of his own toys to leave on his friend's porch for her to hug. They started this months-long ritual of socially distanced exchanges of toys and notes as a way in this new world to insist that their love for one another was still real. Love is material. It is substantial. It has a substance to it. And so sometimes thinking about the ones we love or talking to them on the phone or imagining they're near is not enough. We give and receive love in our physical bodies, and one of the ways we do that is with material symbols of love. We give gifts. Here is something, we say, a thing with substance that you can feel and hold and know I love you. Christmas, at the heart of it, is a celebration of love embodied, where the storytellers stand in spite of fear and risk the terror of empire to say, our material lives matter, because love is material. It is substantial. Love has a body, all our bodies. And the first reaction we see in the story to this love embodied is the impulse to give. The Magi bring gifts to celebrate and offer the more important gift of political support against the threats of Herod. This is why this message, not obligation or expectation or ego, this is why we celebrate this day by giving gifts to one another. To say to one another, love is substantial. It has substance, and here is some of it. Now, this isn't always how holiday gift giving feels, I know. Our Christmas spiritual practice of generosity has been colonized by a culture of consumption. The sense of a gift as love made substantial in this commodity culture morphs into love objectified. This culture of unfettered capitalism would corrupt the generosity that love plants in our hearts into an unending spiral of ever more production, more consumption, a great performative shift of resources from the many to the few. When consumptive systems get linked with our holiest moments, they start to feel sacred themselves, natural, inevitable, but they aren't. There are other ways of being. And instead of allowing the culture of commodity and consumption any power over this sacred time, we could push back. We could lean into the practices of gift culture, like in the story of the box of light. We could ask for what we need from our community and give to our loved ones and our neighbors what substance of love we have to offer. We could practice generosity in ways that don't feed the beast of consumption, knowing that sometimes it is necessary to feed that beast in order to survive. We could normalize giving free, used, handmade, or homegrown gifts to one another at Christmas and whenever we see a need that we are able to meet. We could do what the angels in the Christmas story proclaim that Jesus was born to do. Notice that the world has been turned upside down and live in a way that sets it right again. Our choosing generosity without commodifying love is a challenge, an affront to the culture of consumerism. Our insistence that everyone is capable of generosity and everyone is worthy of it flips commodity culture on its head. Because this is a culture that created the myth that we get gifts only if we are worthy, only if we are on the good list, right? Well, I'm sorry to ruin it for the exhausted parents who've used this myth to your advantage, but I'm a universalist when it comes to life and to death and to Santa. There is no naughty list in heaven or at the North Pole. The mythic figures of this season are giving because they are good, not because we are. The divinity in the Christmas story is one so good and loving that it can't help but live alongside the beauty of creation. And we feel the impulse toward generosity not because of anyone else's worthiness to receive, but because the love that lives in us demands to be substantial. Our generosity is about living into our goodness, not passing judgment on anybody else's. We give for the same reason we hug, for the same reason we cook for one another, for the same reason we pet our cats and scratch our dog's belly, for the same reason we long to hold a baby. Because love matters and has mattered. Love, as the Christmas story tells us each year, lives in a body, in all our bodies. Every night is a holy night when we give it away. May it be so, and amen. to know your body as the home of God, Rebecca Parker wrote. You have to know that there is a love that lives in your body and insists on being given away. Let us be giving on this night and every night.
The dawn.